Hey guys, Tina here, the Critical Virgo. Welcome back to another Fragrance Fridays. If you are new here, welcome. Just so you know, I do put timestamps to everything down below. So if you want to fast forward to something, that's what they're there for. A big thank you to Dossier, who reached out to me and asked me if I'd be interested in trying out 2 fragrances in exchange for my honest opinion. And clearly I took them up on that offer. I picked 2 scents that I actually own the originals for because I wanted to give a really good comparison and do you guys some justice by that. But a little bit more before I get into that. So I have been very interested in trying some fragrances from this house, this company, for a while now. I've seen them around for a few years and it just seems like within recent times they've gained a lot of traction. So I see more videos, more ads. I'm like, what the heck, why not? Let's do this. So if you've been to my channel before, you already know I am a huge believer in the fact that you do not need to go broke to look or smell great. I know everybody's in a different position, and yes, while some of us have the luxury and do like to buy very expensive fragrances, not all of us are in a position, and I don't feel like you should be punished for that. I feel like, you know, even if you want to try something out and see how you feel about it first before making the commitment to the original, this is a great option for you. So Dossier, the company, they make inspired fragrances that are inspired by very popular designer, and I even see like a lot of niche fragrances popping into their queue now as well. The fragrances that they're inspired by range anywhere between 100 to like $380+, and the Dossier fragrances will range anywhere between $29 and $59. And the way it works is the more expensive the designer fragrances, the more expensive the Dossier companion would be. So for example, if you were looking for something that was inspired by MFK Baccarat Rouge, that on Dossier's website is $59. Whereas one of the fragrances that I actually picked was Floriental Almond, which is inspired by Carolina Herrera's Good Girl, one of my favorites, you guys know. That on Dossier's website is $29 because it's a much lower priced designer fragrance. So I just really like the option that you have there. Now, I also do appreciate that this company is very conscious of, you know, what a lot of people are passionate about these days. So they've cut down some of the use of their plastic. So now, I know in the past they used to give out samples in plastic bottles. They no longer do. So even though you don't get samples anymore, have no fear. They have an excellent return and exchange program. So for the first 30 days, you have the ability to get a full refund, no questions asked, on an opened bottle of fragrance. So you get the bottle, try it out, give it a go. Where you don't like it, hey, return it. Or you have the option to exchange it for something else. So I really like the flexibility on that. And I mean, let's be real, a little bit less plastic in the world is always a better thing. Now, the other thing that I do like is the fact that they have a bulk discount option, where if you buy 3 or more bottles, you get a 25% discount, just adding to the savings. So that was pretty cool too. As I said earlier, I did get 2 fragrances inspired by fragrances that I actually do own. So the first fragrance I'm going to dig into over here is Floriental Almond. This one is inspired by Carolina Herrera's Good Girl, and you guys have seen me with a little shoe before. And when you open up the package, it looks like this. It says iconic scents, designer quality, no markups, and you get a little information card, and it has the notes on it, the fragrance it's inspired by, concentration levels 15%. So as I said, this one's inspired by Carolina Herrera's Good Girl, and they do give you the notes on the card, but if you lose the card and you lose the box, have no fear, because they're on the label, and I really like it when companies do this. They do put the notes on there as well, and also in addition they put the name of their fragrance. They don't write what it's inspired by, but I'm not mad at them for that. I feel like as soon as you spray this, you'll probably know. This is a 50 ml 1.7 ounce bottle. Another thing that I really thought was cool was that they have magnetic caps. I don't know why I'm so impressed by that still to this day. I really like that touch. The sprayer on them is excellent, just so you know. So notes on this are, we got almond and peach, a middle of orris, orange blossom, and tuberose, and a base of tonka bean, vanilla, and cocoa, which is very much in line with the original fragrance that this was inspired by. Concentration on this is 15%. I don't know if I mentioned that already. So I've been wearing this fragrance for about a week now, and you guys know that I'm a huge fan of the original. I've been wearing it for a few years, and I am absolutely in love with it. I adore it. My first impressions when I first sprayed on the inspired fragrance Floriental Almond were that this was really good. Really, really good. So spot on in the opening. It's scary, okay? Very hard to notice a difference there. The only differences that I do notice come to longevity and dry down. So I find that the original fragrance from beginning to end is a little more richer, deeper. It has more depth. And the inspired fragrance at dry down comes off a little soapy. It's not bad. It still is very close to the original, but it's not as spot on as it was in the opening. So that's my only negative to it. Longevity wise, on the original, I do get about 8-10 plus hours. The inspired fragrance, I'm looking at more about 4 to 6, but it's really not that big of a deal. I can just retouch it up as I go. The projection is about on par with the original, so I'm not mad at that. I did wear this fragrance to the office, and I do have a few coworkers who wear the original fragrance and just know that they could not tell the difference. So unless if you actually had the original and the inspired fragrance on at the same time, I highly doubt you're going to notice a difference. The other fragrance that I have is Floriental Vanilla. And this one is inspired by YSL's Black Opium. Same deal, info card, bottle, all look the same. And again, it does have the notes. So if you lose the card, no biggie. Notes on this one, top is mandarin, pear, pink pepper, and licorice. The mid is jasmine and orange blossom. And the base is cedarwood, patchouli, vanilla, and coffee. And again, I do have the original, which I do wear. My experience wearing Floriental Vanilla was very much like Floriental Almond in the fact that the openings, they're just so spot on. It kind of makes you say, wow, this is really good. It's hard to pick out some differences between the inspired and the original fragrances. The time that I'm able to really pick out the differences comes more in the dry downs. I find that the Floriental Vanilla was a little bit sweeter than YSL's Black Opium, but I'm not mad at it because you guys know that I love, 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 love gourmand fragrances. The other thing that I will say is I felt like both fragrances lacked a little bit of the depth and richness compared to the originals. But the thing about this is, if you are wearing the original fragrance and the inspired fragrance at the same time, you will be better able to pick out the differences in them. If you were only wearing the inspired fragrance, it's very doubtful that you would notice little differences, nor would anybody else. And these are such popular fragrances. Like I said, I've worn this Floriental Almond, which is inspired by Carolina Herrera's Good Girl, to the office, and the coworkers that I have that actually wear that fragrance were not able to tell a difference. I don't have a lot of coworkers who wear Black Opium, so I couldn't really get a good comparison on that. But just what I'm noticing is I am more critical of these when I'm wearing the originals and the inspired fragrances at the same time versus when I just wear them alone. I don't really pick at them so much, and I actually enjoy them just as much as I do the originals. So they definitely do serve a purpose. Like if you can't afford the originals and you really just want to smell good, these are an excellent option. If you want to give a designer fragrance a run without committing to the full bottle and, you know, spending a lot of money and just seeing how it fits into your lifestyle, then this is also a really great option, because you may find that like, oh, I get a lot of wear out of this, so it might be worth investing in the full size original bottle. Or you may just continue to pick these up. You know, I think it's a really nice option. They're very versatile. And even though longevity isn't 100% there like the originals, they're so affordable you could just touch them up at any time and you can just throw them in your purse. It's really not that big of a deal. So I think it's a really great option. I'm glad that I gave it a go. I definitely will be wearing these fragrances a lot. You guys know how I feel about each of them, especially the Floriental Almond. I'll probably get the most wear out of that. And I'm very curious to see what the other fragrances from this house are like now. Generally that happens. I'll start to dip my toe into something and I'm like, oh, I start going down the rabbit hole. So I see a lot of new fragrances being added to their queue. Again, they always like to take some recommendations. They're trying to fill their queue up with some of the most popular fragrances. So If you have any suggestions, feel free to submit them to them. I am going to put some links to these fragrances down below. And as usual, you guys know I love hearing from you. If you have any questions, comments, you want some more information on, how these things wear or just anything in general, you know where to put them. Till next Friday, guys. Bye.